This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shashina Roll. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news, the Grand Bahama Power Company investing millions in assets to ensure reliability. A key executive of the company telling members of the Rotary Lucaya's weekly luncheon that the company is focusing on key areas of focus like reliability and price stability, while renewable and alternate sources of energy will also be given attention. Managing Director of the Grand Bahama Power Company, Paul Miller, telling the Rotary Club of Lucaya that the company is doing its part when it comes to the reliability of service on this island. Miller provided statistics to drive home the point.
Essentially, what we noticed, it would have been typical that over the course of a year prior to 2013, that the average person in Grand Bahama, you would be without power for approximately 25 to 28 hours a year. That number has been reduced to 6 hours. The last 2 years, it's been approximately 6 hours. 2014 was the best, okay? Now remember, that's an average, so there are still some customers that will see longer durations, and there are others that will see much less.
On the issue of frequency of power outages, he says the power company is making significant improvements.
Over the last 2 years has almost been identical. It hovers between 8 and 9. Going back to that same time period, those numbers would have been up in the 20 plus range. So quite significant.
Miller says while the price of oil has dropped on the international market, it is hard to predict if and when it will go up again, and that is why the power company engaged in what is called a hedging process.
Hedging is very similar. It provides, our intent, our strategy is that it provides a cushion for our customers in the event that oil prices, we expect fully they will rebound and go. And when? We don't know. Will they keep going? They may keep going down, right? It's a very tough market to determine what's going to happen with respect to the oil. Very tough.
But Miller notes that the Grand Bahama Power Company continues to strategize through hedging and have done so for the period of 2016 to 2019. He says GBPC has made tremendous strides when it comes to the reliability of service, stability of pricing, and is committed to a sustainable future.
With respect to the work that we're doing, the investments that we're making in regard to the reliability of supply and alternative energy and renewable energy, and ultimately reducing our dependence on fossil fuels. In doing so, being able to branch out away from oil and to get into solar, biofuel, gas. These are all different energy sources that we need to be able to take advantage of. And ultimately, that will lead us to more stable and predictable prices that you, our customers, will derive the benefit from.
In other news, the Freeport container port welcoming the Maersk Kotka to the transshipment terminal on Sunday. It is the first Maersk vessel to call at Freeport as part of the 2M Alliance. The arrival of the Maersk Kotka comes following the announcement of the vessel sharing agreement between the Maersk Line and Mediterranean Shipping Company. The 10-year agreement involves the Asia, Europe, transatlantic, and trans-Pacific trades and encompasses 193 vessels deployed on 22 strings. The container port is the only transshipment hub in the region to service cargo from Asia and Europe to the United States, East Coast, the Gulf, and Freeport figures prominently in this agreement as part of one of the 77 ports of call. Container port officials say there is greater opportunity for Maersk to bring their volumes on the same vessel and use Freeport to build its network to the United States, East Coast, or the Caribbean. Switching gears now, an alleged domestic dispute in the Hawksbill community over the weekend has left an elderly man dead. But for the family, it is a double tragedy as one loved one is dead and another stands accused of murder. Sabrina Brown reports.
Former educator 70-year-old Sundiata Karamo was killed during an altercation in Hawksbill early Saturday morning. Family members say Karamo was trying to stop his son-in-law from choking his wife when he turned and attacked Karamo. Karamo's daughter Africa says she got a call around 5 o'clock Saturday morning from one of her father's neighbors telling her to come quickly.
Halfway down there, my mother called and she said, "Your daddy's laying dead in a pool of blood. This man has killed your father." And I don't know how I got there because I didn't bust out crying, I think, but to be honest with you, I think the best emotion that could sum up is I was just so angry. I was so angry because it's almost like you could see it coming.
The victim's son Lance, who lives in the United States, is trying to come to terms with the horrific ordeal.
I saw the body when I went and I viewed it. You know, he was pretty beat up. Looked like, you were, really beat.
Isa, Adam, and Malika say their father was a giant of a man.
The most important thing about my father is the legacy he left. And he was a father first, and he was an educator. Like my sister Africa said, he homeschooled us at first. So we learned to read and write, from my dad and my mother.
McGuffey readers.
Yeah, McGuffey readers. Yes, we learned to read and write, largely from the Bible.
Yeah,
but I love my dad. I love my dad. He taught me everything I know. He taught me how to. He taught me how to be who I am. So I'm happy for that.
I really did appreciate my father, especially he helped me with my last son, my first son too, especially my last son. He was really like
special needs.
Special needs child. He was born only a pound and a half, and my dad came over and helped me with him, and I'll never forget that when he did. He always tried to instill in us basically education and all that.
He was a loving man, and he was just really he had a full life. He just loved people. He loved interacting. He was an avid chess player. He would sit out there and, the different guys who Hawksbill would come play chess with him.
Sabrina Brown, ZNS Network News.
Well, meantime, police are still looking for leads into the January 19th murder of 37-year-old Chivargo Anthony Thompson, a resident of Heritage Subdivision. Thompson was shot multiple times in a yard at Bass Lane. Police say Thompson was approached by an individual dressed in dark clothing who produced a firearm and fired several shots at him before leaving the scene. Police say they still have no motive to go on at this time, and they're asking anyone with any information that could help with this investigation to contact 350-3106 or 7-911-919 or the nearest police station. Meantime, Canadian Bruno Rufa arrested at the Coral Beach Hotel and charged for violating the immigration law. Rufa was arraigned before Magistrate Debbie Ferguson yesterday on the charge of engaging in gainful occupation without a work permit. He pled not guilty and the case was adjourned to February 18th. Rufa was given $2,500 cash bail and his travel documents were surrendered to the custody of the Immigration Department. Now, it is alleged that Rufa was observed working at the beach bar at the Coral Beach Hotel last Friday. At the time of his arrest, he was found in possession of sales receipts, a cash register tape, and monies collected from the proceeds at the bar. He was represented by attorney Carrie Leonard. Stay with us. There's more news on the other side of the break.
Vision Outreach International has a compassionate mission aimed at restoring sight to the blind poor in remote regions of the world.
Open the eyes of my heart, Lord.
Don't miss Eye on Health with your host, Dr. Duranda Ash, as she shares how this organization is bringing vision and sight to the blind around the world. So join us for this live show Friday, February 6th at 8 p.m. with Dr. Ash and her guest.
My heart, I want to see.
Welcome back. The Fresh Start program has kicked off a new season. The program is designed to provide young people with the necessary skills and experience to qualify for a job or become business owners. The Minister for Grand Bahama, Dr. Michael Darville, was on hand for the launch of the new phase of the program. He encouraged students to capitalize on all the opportunities, noting that there is no room for failure.
31% of our young people are unemployed. The government takes that very, very, very seriously because we have realized that the future of our nation is you. And so we must now devise policies and programs to ensure that that 31% is reduced specifically for the island of Grand Bahama, which is my job, but throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and allow you to have access to the opportunities so that you can reach your true potential and become a productive citizen of this country.
The Director of Ministry, Youth, Sports and Culture, Darren Turnquest, says the program is designed to give young people access to a world of opportunities.
There's so many other young people right here in Grand Bahama that we can call their names and tell you how successful they have been as a result of this program. But the program is great. And we pat ourselves on the back every single day for it. But you know who's greater? Those individuals. Because they had to choose to take what they learned in this program, and either they could sit on their laurels and ignore the talent and the time that was invested and the treasure that was invested in them, or they could get up and do something about it.
Well, the program is now into its 8th year on Grand Bahama. In other news, Reach Out Ministries gearing up for its 8th annual Boys to Men Conference. Organizers are expecting an historic event as they're attempting to bring together more than 1,000 men and boys. The conference will be held under the theme Molding Our Youth for the Future, Destined for Success. Many youth leaders are coming together to ensure its success. President of Reach Out Ministries, Dudley Sade, says his aim is to take the country back.
The conference will be a life-changing conference for anyone who will attend. Like I said, a lot of times we sit on the sidelines hoping that Darren Roll, Dudley Sade, Wayne Carey to solve the problem with the youths of this nation. So I'm sending an appeal to all leaders to come out and support. We're looking for mentors to mentor the kids here at the conference.
The reality is, if young men are molded correctly, then they are destined for success. And I think many of us that are walking in a level of success in our lives, if we look back and begin to think about the molding process, we'll see the people that God used in our lives.
The Royal Bahamas Police Force says engaging the youth is one of their top priorities. The organization is asking the community to give them their full support. The conference will take place at Calvary Temple on Clive Avenue.
Make a special appeal to fathers to accept the invitation that had been extended by Mr. Said to bring their sons, and to mothers to bring their sons also, to ensure that this 8th annual Boys to Men Youth Mentoring Conference is again a huge success.
Even in the music that will be provided for this conference, we would be telling of our testimonies of some of the stuff that we went through. And me in particular, the song that I'll be doing is Still I Rise. I went through a lot as a young man, and I've been traumatized to the point where, and before I got saved, where I ended up in drugs, violence, pornography, and the whole 9 yards. I went through it all. So in the music that we would be singing would also be a message.
In other news, the Salvation Army celebrating 30 years of service to the Grand Bahama community. The charitable organization has made big strides over the years, and for that, they are grateful. Persons who have helped to keep the Salvation Army going were recently honored. Italia Hall has the story. Commemorating the past and celebrating the future was the theme of the event that began with beautiful music and a tribute to the late Sir Jack Hayward, as it was one of his charities. A big thank you was given to Sir Jack for all of the great things he has done to help the Salvation Army.
Sir Jack Hayward was a lovely man, and his fondness for the Salvation Army stretched beyond the ministry and its day-to-day operation to include the officers and their families. We experienced this firsthand.
A plaque was then given to Sir Jack's son, Rick Hayward, as a token of appreciation for Sir Jack's contributions to the Salvation Army over the years.
Your father was a beloved man here in the Salvation Army, and we're very happy that the Bungays that knew him will be there over in England at his funeral service, and we're looking forward to the memorial service here in Freeport, that we too can hear many other stories. I was with Sir Jack a month ago and told him, Sir Jack, you may not know it, but you've touched many lives. I think he did know it, but I just wanted to share that with him, and I'm glad that I did get a chance.
Many companies were recognized as well for their contributions to the organization. The event concluded with Lieutenant Colonel Kenneth Meaner, the program secretary for the Salvation Army in the USA Eastern Territory.
We celebrate and we are honored to be here to see the faces of people who are continuing to give good gifts in the name of Jesus. And to know this, that there is no scarcity in heaven.
Alia Hall, ZNS Network News. The Junior Junkanoo Parade held over the weekend. Students from 26 schools participated, and now they are anxiously awaiting the judge's decision. We'll take a look back and then give you the results. The 16th annual Junior Junkanoo Parade was a major success. 27 schools participated in the event, which engages students in the country's #1 cultural expression. The first to hit the parade route was the preschool division, a division organizers say continued to grow. West End Preschool put on a grand performance as newcomer to the parade growing years proved why they were a force to reckon with. Rising Stars Christian Academy rose to the occasion, and East End Preschool combined took the show by storm. Letty's Paradise wowed the crowd, and National Academy made an impressive showing. St. John's Native Baptist Preschool brought the heat, and as always, Kinder Care brought a burst of energy and color. In the primary school division, schools like Hugh Campbell and Bartlett Hill entered as fun groups. Nonetheless, the crowd was moving to the sweet sounds of Junkanoo. Lewis York Primary, Holmes Rock, Maurice Moore, and West End were fierce competitors in this division. The judges will have their work cut out for them, trying to decide who captured the title. Sister Mary Patricia Russell Junior High was the only school competing in the junior division, yet they laid it all out, giving spectators a spectacular showing. In the all-age category, Hampton Academy II entered as a fun group, as well as Sunland Baptist Academy, Bishop Michael Eldon, Tabernacle Baptist Academy, and the Beacon School. All of those groups helped to make the parade a smashing success as they entertained those in attendance, in particular Tabernacle, who entered the parade for the very first time. The only group in the category to enter the parade was East End School, which includes Sweetings Key Primary and Junior Schools. Now in the second division, Total Education Center rocked the streets. 8 Mile Walk High School also moved the crowd with their good music, as Jack Hayward High School wrapped up the evening with good music and great choreography. Organizers say they are impressed because just about every school on the island participated in this year's Junior Junkanoo Parade. Residents were supportive and turned out in grand style, and they believe next year it can only get bigger and better. And of course, we'll have the results in tomorrow evening's newscast. Finally, in news, he's proof that all is not lost when it comes to the nation's youth. We are talking about a young man who excelled in the recent BGCSE examinations. He was at the top of his class and now top in the country. Megan Shepard fills us in.
17-year-old Vernon Bartlett moved to Grand Bahama from Grand Key because he says he wanted to further his skills in the technical areas. Recently, Bartlett was honored for his outstanding performance in the 2014 BGCSE Electrical Installation course, earning the top grade in the nation.
From I was a little boy, I always was good with my hands and fixing stuff, so the practical was easy for me, and I had a better practice like just doing household stuff back home. And for the theory exam, well, practical was a bit easier than the theory exam because you had to remember a lot of stuff in the practical, and there's different equations and stuff where if you miss one key thing, then everything is wrong. So, I mean, the written exam was more difficult.
Bartlett says when he graduates this year, he wants to attend college to earn a bachelor's in electrical engineering technology. He says his mother is his greatest inspiration and her support is his drive to succeed. His advice to other students: stay focused, determined, and keep a positive outlook.
My teacher has a banner up on the wall that I took into my account that I would live my life by. It says that we are what we repeatedly do. So excellence, therefore, is not an act, but a habit. And I believe in that. And also, I came up with my own saying because electrical isn't just a job for me, but I truly enjoy electrical, so it's more of a hobby. And I came up with my saying that I will let my passion be the voltage that drives the electrons in my body through the circuits of life. And of course, it was electrically inspired. And so you could interpret into your own situation, and it allows you for a boost of confidence and inspiration.
Principal Keith Barr noting that earning this award is somewhat of a tradition for the high school. Teacher Sean Argyle says he is always proud of his students as they continue to push for excellence.
Electrical installation, this is sort of a tradition for us. We've been getting this award. We've gotten this award about 6 times or even more in terms of getting the highest score in the electrical installation BGCSE subject.
I always encourage them to strive for excellence. Do not settle for mediocrity. And I'm happy to know that students like Vernon has committed themselves to that goal, has committed themselves to taking up the mantle, has committed themselves to actually realizing the full potential and the gifts that God has actually placed in them. And the only result for that can be excellence and good results, and this is what we see manifest here.
Megan Shepard, ZNS Network News.
Stay with us. Your top sports anchor has a check on sports when we return. Topping sports, a great weekend of golf for Grand Bahama at the Reef and Fortune Hills is called the Guthrie and Taylor Memorials. Ricardo Lightbourne has the 411.
The Jonathan Guthrie Memorial Golf Tournament played on the Grand Lucan Reef Golf Course with the team of Wolfgang Geiger, Vernon Wells, and Doran Mims put on that Hannes Babak. They had a 123 to win the tournament. George Turnquist, Carrington Williams, Craig Flowers, and Prince Zoro Stubbs put a 129 for second place. These guys tried to keep pace. Third went to the team of, that's Larry DeGregory, Brendan Paddock, James Sarles, and also Mark Esting. They had a 129 to comeback. The gross champions, Jimmy Delancey, Delano Mortimer, as well as Brentford Christie and Max Quant. They had a gross 145. Over the Fortune Hills Golf Course with the Arthur Taylor Memorial, Wilbur Major played and he had a blast. Come on, Tony Cooper, find a fairway. Look out, everybody. Rick, your turn. That's in the bush for, no, just kidding, buddy. It's center cut. Well, as far as the 4-person shambles, and it was all of that. Okay, show them how it's done. That's down the middle. Okay, here is my boy, Leroy Bush, lying on the tee. You got this one going. Bush left. Load up, bro. The greens at Fortune Hills gave the players fits. Call him Shorty. Dwayne Hepburn played the Arthur Taylor and played well. This has to be fixed. John Larris on the same team. Okay, if you say. This is why these guys are what you would call bogus. Here is Dwayne with a 43-footer. Well, that simply can't be right. The team of Dwayne Hepburn, John Larris, Vicky Howell, and Marilyn won the tournament. And can you believe that? High fives to go around. President of Fortune Hills, that's Peter Collins, is one of those sandbaggers. Peter took advantage of Ace Stewart, and that's not fair. Well, this is what makes the Fortune Hills fun. Greg Cooper still trying to get that 4 under round. And even this guy, David Bell, played. Hey, this is not the conch man, David. This thing is called golf.
Well, the Derek Nesby and Obie Welshcombe Senior Boys High School's basketball playoff started yesterday with the Sunland Stingers defeating the 8 Mile Rock Blue Jays 55-35 in Game 1 of the semifinal series. The Tabernacle Falcons over the St. George's Jaguars 49-34. Game 2 scheduled for Wednesday. In junior boys regular season play, 8 Mile Rock over Grand Bahama Academy 18-10. Jack Hayward Jr. down BMES 24-15. Tabernacle big over St. Paul's 31-6 to score. Sunland nipped Sister Mary Patricia Russell 22-20. And the Grand Bahama Basketball Association on court last night. The Lady Flames over the Lady Predators 41-26 with Tashina Pinder netting 9 points in the win. Taranya Wild Goose with 8 in the loss. The Freeport Container Port Predators bagged the Grand Bahama Power Baller 61-56. Dylan Williams netted 13 to pace the Predators. The Ballers Nathaniel Newbold with 17 in the loss. Ricardo Butterfield 17 points to the lead. The Cobras passed the Showtime Knights 67-48. Jerome Jones netted 12 in the loss. And that's my time for sports.